Can you tell I just got over a pretty bad cold? This is the voice you're gonna get today, but it's worth it because we're gonna be making something that I loved as a kid. I would beg my parents to get me more of. And now that I'm older and grown, I can make it myself. And I'm talking about beef jerky. That's right, beef jerky. Hopefully you can follow along in this with my voice. I may have to put subtitles, I don't know. I promise you I'm not trying to do a Henry Kissinger impression. For those of you under 40, you probably don't know what that means. So what we're starting with today here is a top round. Sometimes you'll see this cut as listed as London broil, even though that's not a cut of meat, that's how you would cook it. But what we need to do first is remove as much of the fat as we can from this. You want the leanest cuts of meat you can get when you're going to be making beef jerky. Fat will make it spoil. Now, I'm not going to be keeping this beef jerky for long, but I'm going to be following the same procedures. If you have a lot of fat in it and you're keeping it for days and weeks after you've preserved it, it's going to have a tendency to spoil. So you want to get rid of that fat. So that's what we're going to do here. Just going to follow this line up here. And you do lose a little bit of meat in the process, but you can save these pieces, use them for something else. Add them to some chuck if you're grinding up for hamburger or a tri-tip or something like that. Great to add some fat for some grindings. You're always going to have a little bit of fat inside the meat. That's okay. You just don't want an excess amount of fat. Let's turn this around and check this side here. You can see we got a little bit right here we want to cut away. So we already have a little bit of oxidation here in this cut. So this is actually going to be good to use this for jerky. See this little bit right here as we bend this up. We're just going to take our knife, cut these little bits out. Got some more right here. Slide our knife under. Follow along, get that bit off. Like I said, if you lose a little bit of the meat, that's okay. You can use it for something else. You want to get this as lean as possible to be used for jerky. And you can see we've got like a vein of fat running through here. We'll just live with that as we're making our jerky today. But right now on the outside, that's looking pretty good. Maybe just a little bit more right here. All right, so there's our trimmed up piece of top round. I'm gonna put this in the freezer for about 30 minutes to firm up. That's gonna make it a lot easier to slice. And while it's firming up, we're gonna make the marinade for this. So our marinade for this is really simple, and the bottom line to all this is you can make whatever marinade you want, whatever flavor you wanna develop, you can. You can go straight teriyaki sauce, straight Worcestershire. There's lots of things you can do. This is the one I decided to do. First thing I'm starting off with here is about 2/3 of a cup of a La Choy ginger garlic marinade. Then I'm going to be adding 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce. About 3 tablespoons of brown sugar. The spice mixture I'm adding to this is 2 teaspoons of ground black pepper, 2 teaspoons of garlic powder, and 1 teaspoon of chipotle chili powder. Not chipotle, chipotle. People have been calling me on that every time I say it in videos. I'm sorry, I say chipotle, but it's chipotle. And then we're just gonna mix it up. It's a fairly thick marinade, as you can see, but that's what we want. We're gonna get a good coating on all our strips of meat once we cut them. Let's see how that tastes. Oh, that's good. That's good. All right, we're gonna put our marinade in the refrigerator to sit for about 15 minutes while our meat finishes firming up in the freezer. I'll bring you back. All right, so our top round is firmed up a little bit. You don't wanna get it to where it's frozen. You wanna just get it firmed up a little bit. And now we have a decision to make. can see the grain running through our cut of meat here. It's generally running this way. There's two different schools of thought on beef jerky and two different choices. There's no right or wrong one. You've probably all had beef jerky where you bite and you go, you pull on it. That's generally cut along the grain. So you're gonna have more of a pull when you bite it. You've probably also had beef jerky where you bite it and it comes apart real easily. That's cut across the grain. Today, I'm gonna be making my jerky pieces across the grain. I want less of a pull. So I'm positioning my cut of meat. My grain is running this way. I'm gonna be making cuts that are approximately 1/4 inch thick. Remember, this is gonna shrink up a lot when we smoke it for that low and slow time. So that 1/4 inch is actually gonna come down to probably 1/8 of an inch or less in many cases. So our first cut is probably not gonna be the greatest because we have to kind of square off this end. Now we're just gonna try and make straight cuts about 1/4 inch. Sharp knife really helps here. These end pieces are obviously going to be a lot different than those at the center. That's all right. So I'm just going to leave that end chunk there and this little end piece over here. So there we have our sliced up top round, everything about 1/4 inch. I think it looks pretty good. Now I'm going to get it into a dish, cover it with that marinade, make sure every bit gets a good amount on it. You could also put it into a plastic Ziploc bag or something like that. But we're going to get it in there and it's going to go in the refrigerator overnight. So what I'm going to do is just place these strips in here. If there's any that are still stuck together, just cut them apart. Doesn't matter if they each are laying flat, they're going to overlap here. The more critical part is when they're in the smoker, not to have them overlapping or touching. You want to make sure they have good airspace in there. But we'll cover that tomorrow when we actually get them in the smoker. All right, we got all our pieces in there. Now I'm just going to take the marinade we made and pour it over this. Get it all out of there. Now, some people make a lot of marinade where it's actually just sitting in it. You don't really need that much, in my opinion. You just need enough to cover it because you're just going to be doing this to it. Rubbing that marinade in, getting all the pieces coated. Remember, they're going to be sitting in this overnight. Now, if you don't have time to do it overnight, 4 to 8 hours is enough. The longer, the better. But overnight's going to give this a chance to really penetrate into this top round. Every piece nice and coated. All right, that's it. It's marinated. We're going to cover this up, put it in the refrigerator. It's going to sit there overnight, and I'll bring you back tomorrow when we get it in the smoker. Hopefully my voice will be better by then too. All right, our beef jerky has been marinating overnight, and so has my voice. I don't know, is it better? I don't really think so. But I'm gonna push through. Stick with me here. Okay, the first thing we've got to do is we have to take off some of this marinade that's been sitting on these top round strips overnight. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna lay them on a tray. You can also put them on a rack, let it drain off naturally. We're just gonna do it with paper towels. Now we're not getting all of the marinade off. We're just taking off the excess. Once you get the excess off, transfer it into a fresh dish. Set it aside. Smells really good. I think I actually sound more like Henry Kissinger today. We will go to China and we will make history. Again, if you're under 40, maybe under 50, you won't get that joke. Now I've got the smoker going. It's set at 165 degrees. That's what we're going to be running it at today. I've got some peach wood chips in there, not very many, because the smoke it's going to take is going to be really during the early stages. I'm not going to be running smoke throughout the whole thing. Making jerky is primarily a drying process. So using that smoker at a lower temperature to slowly dry the meat. That's what we're doing. Now, one thing to remember is you don't need a smoker to do this. A smoker does add some extra flavor, but you can do this in the oven. You can add liquid smoke to your marinade if you want some of that smoky flavor. Just don't add too much. There's plenty of recipes online on how to do this in the oven. But if you've got an electric smoker, it's nice. It's really nice to do it this way. Why electric and why not the offset or some other type of smoker? Well, you could do it probably in a pellet smoker, but even that's a little difficult to keep down in this lower range of temperatures. An electric smoker actually allows you to dial in this low temperature and maintain it for a longer period of time. We're probably going to be smoking anywhere from, it's a big range here, 4 to 9 hours. It really depends on the meat, the weather. Right now today outside, it's kind of cold and gray. The humidity is pretty high. So we're not going to know. We're going to have to keep testing. After about 3 hours, we'll be checking this jerky to see what its consistency is, how floppy it is, how stiff it is. That's what we're looking for. We want the meat to be stiff, but not breakable, not like you're going to bend it and snap it. So here is our jerky that we've patted dry. It still has plenty of moisture on it and marinade. Now what I need to do is place it on racks that are going to slide in the smoker. So I've got one of my racks laid out here, and I'm just going to start placing the strips on here. The goal is to not have them touch. We want to have good airflow and air circulation around these. Planning on using 2 racks today. I don't think I'll need a third. Some people like to actually skewer these with toothpicks and hang them from the racks so they dangle down. Nothing wrong with that at all. If you want to try that, go for it. So this is one rack here. I'm going to take my second rack, just lay it right on top because they're going to be separated once I put them in the smoker. I'll make any adjustments I need to before they go in to make sure everybody's got good spacing. There we go. Our jerky is on the racks, ready to go in the smoker. I can see from the ThermoPro wireless thermometer that our temperature is right up there. So we're gonna go get these in. Smoker's up to temp. Time to get our beef jerky strips in there. See, I have the wireless thermometer probe on the top rack here, so I'll be putting the other 2 racks immediately below it. So that's the setup we have. We've got peach wood chips in there, as I mentioned. Got a little bit of smoke coming already. It'll build over the next half hour to 45 minutes. We're only going to get about an hour and 15 minutes of smoke out of this. I didn't put many chips in there at all. Most of the flavor of this comes from the marinade. That smoke is just a little addition. So let's get this closed up and cooking. Many of you who've watched my channel for a while may be noticing something. The glass in my smoker door is clean. I've always said I don't care if it's clean or not. I don't look in it, but my wife just got sick of it looking so dirty and she came out and cleaned it. So I have to thank her. And if you're happy that you can see the food through the glass, you can thank her too. So it's about 9:30 in the morning right now. We're gonna come back and check this in 2.5 hours at noon. That'll be when we should first start seeing signs of it becoming jerky. You know, we should be seeing that shrinkage in there. We should be seeing the meat tighten up. So we'll come back, take a look at it then. Okay, it's been 2.5 hours. It's noon right now, still sort of gray and cold and humid, a little bit of drizzle, but it's time to check this beef jerky. Let's get this opened up. Oh yeah, definitely starting to look like jerky. A lot of shrinkage there. Those pieces are much smaller. Let's take one out and check the firmness of it. So here is our piece of jerky. Let's see how Still floppy, bendable, but it's not dried out yet. So it still has plenty more to go. I'm going to say probably at least another 2 hours, but it's definitely shrinking, getting good color there. It's looking really nice. Smells great too. So let's get this back in. I'm so tempted to take a taste right now, but it'll be worth the wait. All right, let's close this up, let it keep going. All right, it's 2 o'clock. It's been 2 hours since our last check. Let's see how this jerky's doing. Oh, looking good. Looking more like jerky each time we check. All right, so let's get this piece out of here. Still sort of floppy. Want it to be a little stiffer than that. Gonna give it a little more time. Just by the feel of that, I'm guessing it's gonna be 1 more hour. I don't like my beef jerky to be really, really dry. So what I felt there, what I can smell also, telling me it's just about done. So I think in 1 hour, we're gonna be right on the money. And I'll bring you back. Okay, we are at just about 6 hours. I'm almost positive these are just exactly the way I want them. So let's take a look. Oh yeah. If you look over here, there's a missing piece. I cheated. I tasted one already because I had to share one with my wife. These are looking really good. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and pull one off of here. Give it a taste. Now, some people insist upon waiting until these are cool and just, been stored for a while to taste them. I actually love the flavor when it's fresh out of the smoker. They'll be good in like a day or two also, but like I said, I'm not making this batch to store for any length of time. This will last a couple days. So let's see. Let's give this a taste first. Let's see the consistency. See how stiff that is? Springs right back. See that? Springs right back. But if we bend it, it doesn't snap, it breaks. Let's take a taste. Ooh, that's good. That marinade penetrated perfectly. 24 hours in the refrigerator, you're gonna get great penetration on the marinade. A little extra smoke flavor from that peach. Peach is a very subtle fruit wood. It's not gonna give you a lot of overpowering flavor, but I actually think it does something to the outside. And remember what I was saying about cutting across the grain versus cutting with the grain? 2 different ways to do your jerky. You want that pull. Right here on this one, the grain is running this way. So if I bite this way, it's gonna pull easily. Just like that. This way, the grain is running this way. That's the pull. You just have to make the choice which way you want it. Either way you do it though, that flavor is great. So that was a total of 6 hours at 165 degrees with some peach wood smoke right only at the beginning, about the first hour. That's it. Everything else was just that low heat, taking it, slowly removing the moisture, drying it out, getting it to the jerky consistency. Very easy to do. And as you can see, you could do this in the oven, low and slow in there. You don't need the smoke flavor. And if you do want it, as I mentioned before, add some liquid smoke to your marinade. I hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to check out some of the other videos on my channel and consider subscribing. And if you do, click that bell for notifications. Thank you all for watching. Hope you have a great day. I'll see you again soon.